right, so now that we have our basic form, let's give you a few more operators to use for our where reserve word. So here's another simple example. Looking at our products table, we want to look at the prices of only the items that are between $200 and $300. So before we had the greater than and lesser than signs, but here we're just going to use this between, and it's going to include anything that's actually 200 on the dot and 300. So it's an inclusive term here. So if we run that, we see that everything is within our price points. It didn't order it or anything because we didn't tell it to. It just pulled them in the order that it found them as it was running through the data. Ordered actually by our primary key, which is the product ID here. Yeah, so products is pretty, or between operator is pretty simple. Switch this back to our SQL view. Okay, so what if we wanted to look at, we wanted to ask the question of where are, or give me the list of all of the customers that are in New York, Florida, or California. We're looking for corner states. We actually don't have any folks in Washington, if you quickly just look through there. So we're looking at the other three corners of the country here. You know, the little ones don't, they don't matter to, you know, I'm from California. Everything else is a flyover state. There's only a few states in the US that are big enough to contend. Okay, so this is one way that we could do that. So it's selecting name, city, state from our customer table where they are in New York or Florida or California. So what happens when you run this? That works. It filtered exactly what we did, what we told it to, but that was a super long and obnoxious way of doing that. If we weren't doing any copy and pasting, I would have had to type out customer state 3 times, and that kind of sucks. What we can do instead is say where the customer is in one of these 3 states. And copy and paste, you want to make sure that the little parentheses are the right type. Not parentheses, but quotation marks, because PowerPoint stuff will change those on you. But run that and you see same list. So it worked. It was much more efficient. So that's a good one to know. This where customer is in one of these 3 filtering inputs there. Is the other way wrong? No, it's just a lot less efficient and kind of annoying. Okay, and let's talk about the wildcard like. So what is a wildcard? That's when you have like the beginning or an end of a thing and you don't, like you want, in this case, is all of the customers whose name starts with C, basically. And you can do this at the beginning of or end of things. In our library, you can also do this too. You can, instead of like typing out meta-analysis, I'll usually just put meta-anal and then the asterisks, and I won't finish typing out the rest of the word because when you're doing a large search like that, if you want to catch the singular and plural and maybe people turned a word into a verb or something, you can catch all of those different endings by doing the asterisk instead of worrying about is the computer smart enough to catch all those as the search terms, key terms. So wildcards are really useful if you never use those in a database, or yeah, as a user of a database. They're kind of cool. So most databases other than Access use a % sign here. Access actually doesn't. Actually, we're going to use that asterisk again, not to be confused with the other one. This one has to pair with the like function. But if we do this, we should get all the customers that start with C. And you can see that we have 3 different companies that have normal names. We actually have a company named C star. The reason why this one is included is so you can see the difference. If we wanted to catch that one company that's named actually C star, instead of the like, we need to have an equal sign. So now it's not a reserve word anymore. That reserve word has to be paired, the reserve symbol has to be paired with the like. Here, we're saying exactly this is the name C star. Okay, other special searches for Access. Oh, yes, so like I said, you can use it at the beginning or the end of words. So this is you usually have it at the end here, but you could also have something furniture. We want all of the customers that are something furniture. We have Eastern Furniture, New Furniture, Durkin's Furniture, and Flanglin Furniture. Okay. How often is this useful? Well, if you didn't have if you didn't actually split up your composite names for your, if you're having like your John Smiths, like those kind of names, this would be a way to actually search by the last name. So that's something to remember. If you have something that should have been split up, but it's not. Also, like if you have like in my company, our sales departments are split up by like their northeast, like their directions on the map, and they have like a common word, like something like sales, and then they have all these other things. You can filter out all the sales. You can search by all the sales groups, and just you wildcard the front part of it just like this, and that would work beautifully for that function. The other thing we can do, switching back to our SQL view, is we can search for things by dates. So before we saw that for the primary key, because they were number fields and not characters, the the quotation marks around these, that's necessary for character types, but not for numbers. For searching for date, instead of the quotation marks, there's actually the hashtag, the pound signs, on either side of them. For some reason, they decided that that was a good idea. But you can see this filtered all of the orders, 35 orders that were made on this one date. The way we got that was order date equals this one date started by the pound signs, hashtags. All right, so a lot of little details here, but this is how you actually filter down to the data that you're actually looking for.